All right.
All
So
right.
incredible new.
I think we're sending stuff live.
Oh, crazy.
Right
Where?
now
Live
they're
where?
just seeing on YouTube.
On YouTube.
On YouTube, yes.
On YouTube. Not my tube, YouTube.
That's right.
I think that's the wrong mic, Shecky.
Hello, YouTube world. Arg.
Let's try that. How's that?
Oh, there we go. That's the right mic.
There
And
we go.
apparently Ralph is
Stuck in I gotta let him in.
somebody's out there.
Sorry, I'm multitasking.
That's all right.
Here he comes. Ralph may show
Nothing
up.
like a widespread Amazon outage to throw everything into a blender.
Yeah. Oh, look, it's Ralph. Ralph, how are you?
Ralph!
I found the link on the internet, so I thought I would join.
Fishing. Got fish.
Just randomly clicking those links.
We do. We throw them out there just like fishing, right?
Yeah, it's just I'm just looking at Pastebin feeds right now, and I saw it go by. So.
Nice. Yeah, I always post it on Pastebin just in case any hackers are watching.
Legit.
It's important to be
Legit
seen.
hackers.
Mm.
All right. Whoa, dude, psychedelic.
I saw you guys just like playing around with all the different things you can wear. Like I could just imagine a whole team of people over at Zoom. Like, what else could we like put on them? Right? Like,
All
what
right,
kind of
let's give
hat?
him something to see.
Right? Yeah. Let me take the glasses off. Take the glasses off. I can't take them off. Oh my god.
Avatars. Oh, you got to sign in to get avatars. Ooh, eyebrows are free though.
Yeah. Oh. I've never liked myself with a mustache. I gotta take that off.
I know this is the AI one right here. It's weird.
I can thicken up the eyebrows. God, that looks horrible. I can put on like ruby lips. Oh, that's weird. Okay. All right. This is kind of freaking me out.
That's that bald head setting is working really well though.
I know, and I come
You
by
got it.
naturally.
You can't be showing your real hair on live podcasts.
Right. That mustache is insanely ridiculous. Okay. That's not going to fly. What the hell is this? Oh. Okay. I really should stop playing with the buttons.
Just pressing all the buttons. We should just label this episode "Everything's Down."
Everything.
If you can see this, your internet works.
You must be on a hacker net. I'm actually surprised that Zoom is running. Right? Like I'm.
Yeah, I was
That's a
thinking
good
the same
Ralph,
thing.
don't jinx it.
It must be US West 2 instead of US East
US
1.
West too. Yes.
I'm going French today.
Bonjour.
Bonjour.
Comment
Bonjour,
allez-vous?
Fromage.
Let's see how horrible all of our French is in one show.
Je voudrais une tasse de café, s'il vous plaît.
Honestly, when I was in Paris, I just did my best to get by with English.
They probably appreciated that more because when you butcher their language, they get kind of cranky.
Oh my gosh. Well,
Yeah.
like in like Paris and stuff like that, like they know how to speak English. Like I was trying to speak French, but I mean, I can hardly speak English. So like, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Give me just one.
France is the place where they all know how to speak English, but they don't really want to.
No, they don't want to. Yeah.
They're like, ah, damn tourists. Get out of my city. Especially
If you're an American in Paris, right? The older French, they're like, "Oh, can I help you?" But the younger French are like, "Screw you, go to hell."
yeah.
Not all the older French. I mean,
Well,
in high
I
school,
mean, you know, yeah, that's true.
in high school, my French instructor was Parisienne, and man, she had stories. Oh my word, she had stories.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Should we get the
What's,
show on the road, or should we? I guess technically it's not 1:30 or 4:30
Yeah.
or whatever time.
Yeah, well,
I show
time zones.
124. What time zone are you in?
Is it working? Is it working? Can people in Discord actually see this? Yeah,
They're
they're
saying they
responding.
can,
People
yeah.
They're responding. Yep.
Yeah.
Sick.
That's frightening that they're responding.
Yeah, for those out there that are curious, Restream is down or is partially affected by the AWS outage. So we're over here in Zoom land.
In Zoom land.
We're Zoomers now.
Will the people in LinkedIn be getting a stream too, or are we leaving them in the cold?
I think LinkedIn's down today too. They're
Oh
Microsoft.
no, that's got to be on Azure. They're owned by
It's got to be on
Microsoft.
Azure. Did you hear? Did you hear? I guess Microsoft, right, bought GitHub a little while ago, and they hadn't changed anything. But just recently, they decided to like put the hammer down, and they're moving everything to Azure, right? So all of GitHub is going to be on Azure here very soon.
GitHub was blinking a couple of times today in my class.
Oh,
I'm gonna be
John's here
honest.
too?
Huh?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and it could be completely unrelated. But the only other time I've seen GitHub like flake like that was oh my God, it's whenever we gave it a hug of death for one of our webcasts.
I was going to say every time I do a push.
If you don't know how to use GitHub, it can never go down.
Yes, I mean he's not wrong, right? If you don't know how to do a git pull or a git push, it's never broken.
Oh, git pull and push I'm okay with. Git merge is where I get a little scared.
Yeah, and usually it's like if anybody is like, I don't know, I'm a little uncomfortable with the merge thing. Don't push them to merge.
Brian, did you see we have another request to join as a panelist?
Yeah, I got it.
Right.
I was trying to get
How many
it.
people can you make as panelists on the Zoomy?
No,
That's a good question. I don't know.
72,000.
We're about to find out where that limit is.
Are we just like I see the hats in the backgrounds? Are we just like
We're
maybe we should go
testing
back to
out.
Zoom?
I think we're just testing out all the features, John, that they wrote into Zoom over the last, COVID era days, right? Like where you can wear a hat and
hackers, new toy, come on.
backgrounds. I mean, like they literally have teams of people just thinking this stuff up, John.
Yeah.
No, just what they need is more pirates and more heart emojis.
Yeah, I'm totally
God.
going to put the pirate one on, I think. I was going to go French, but
What do we do with all of the people who are completely ADHD? Like,
Yeah, for everyone on audio, don't look at the video.
just
more.
See.
What does the AI companion do?
You can just react with every
you've unlocked
emoji.
a new fear, John.
do not touch the AI.
I will
Step
say
away.
you can react. Oh, I see. There's only effects. Wait, hold on. Is there effects for everything?
According to those zucchinis that are coming up your screen.
I don't know if that's
Yes, there are.
infraction or if
Wow,
that's just
Corey,
somebody
that
like
was a hard one to find, wasn't it?
Listen, if you've ever had, okay, if you've ever had Japanese eggplant, it tastes completely different to like the stuff you're knowing used to from eggplant parm. It's not the same. It's better.
Yeah, no, you're correct.
Take some of that, glaze it with soy sauce or some miso. Oh my goodness, delicious. That's
We're really going to get into how to glaze an eggplant on this show.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
where it went.
I would recommend like a tablespoon of honey, a couple
Turn
tablespoons
around.
of soy sauce, maybe some mirin.
Miso is wonderful stuff.
I'm going to go out on a limb here and say all vegetables outside the United States taste better.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Not French fries.
Not French
Oh,
fries.
good
Oh,
point.
no.
Actually,
here we
no,
go.
the best French fries I
Although,
ever had were in
you know,
Taiwan.
is that a
McDonald's.
That's not really a vegetable, though.
Yeah,
Does it count? A potato? I suppose.
for an American,
Oh,
that's considered a
right.
balanced diet if you eat French fries. Yeah.
Yeah, it's honestly.
So it wasn't supposed to snow, but it's going like full crazy snow out there, right?
Oh, I see it in the back.
Wow,
Because all the
really?
servers
Wow.
are
That
instant
AI
and
effect
turned
is
off.
spot on.
Yeah, the AI effect for winter in my shop.
Wait, is it actually snowing?
So
in the
winter
hills?
descended
Yeah.
in the Badlands, huh?
Hold on a second. Here, let me.
Yeah, don't let Wisconsin hear you. Like you say that
You
word,
did a
and it's just going to
podcast
be.
from the rain. Can you go ahead and do one from the snow too? Yeah,
bad.
were you there for that episode, Ralph? He was literally like sitting on the podcast
starting.
in the rain.
It's beautiful.
Podcasting with his hood up.
Oh, no, Ralph wasn't here for that. That was something else.
John had
He was in witness protection. He was in the dark. He was on the ledge. He was in a hoodie. It started to rain.
Wow.
Yes,
it was like 11 o'clock, and I guess the people in our apartment complex in Germany were very pissed off that I was doing a webcast at 11 o'clock
American
outside.
Yeah, you know why? It's because they're German. They were doing Luften or whatever at 11 p.m. and having all their windows open, even though it was raining and cold.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Could have just sent over a bottle of schnapps, said, drink up.
Yeah, welcome. Well, the nuns left so much liquor over there, Joff. It's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
The nuns must have been hammering down.
That was holy water, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, man.
Jesus turned water into wine, and we turn it into vodka.
Oh no! It just occurred to me that I don't have the intro video.
That's okay.
No.
I didn't put it on Zoom yet.
Oh, we can pretend to do it if you like.
That'd be great. Like Ryan, like I we can just we're streaming to Discord, and I'm gonna get on the Discord real quick just so I can see the Discordians come up.
The Discordians.
I gotta get it.
Definitely true.
I'm just gonna go find a replay of our last podcast, share my screen, and play the video.
Let's do it.
That works.
Let's do it. Yeah. This is such a train wreck today.
Whoa! It's only a train wreck.
Curse you, Amazon!
You acknowledge that it's a train wreck. What will I get an ad for? Does anyone have a fun
That's the guess. Yeah.
How about we let?
I don't know. It's really going to show what you would like to buy.
Okay, where's the damn active channel?
Yo.
All right, here we go. Do I even have rights to share my screen?
I am so tired. I'm trying to move my iPad over and I'm trying to use my mouse to God damn, I'm tired. Oh, okay.
I'm going to say finding the right channel is the test to become a Discordian.
Exactly. Are we going to start calling our Discord fans Discordians?
I think it's a great name for it.
A tribe of fans.
Yeah.
This hat looks silly. I got to take that off.
No, the hat looks fine, Joff. It looks fine.
I mean, it is, the Australian dialect is as close to pirate as it comes, so I think it's appropriate. So
you got to own the hat. To be honest with you, I didn't even think it was a gimmick. I thought you literally had a patch and and a hat. I mean, it's just that good, and it just fits.
Wow. Challenge accepted. I guess I have to get one now.
All right.
I saw your screen share for a second.
I have to install something. Yeah, no, I have to install something to record the audio.
Oh my god! I have to reboot my computer 3 times.
Anybody know
Only
how computers work?
Only 3.
Oh
my entire audio. Oh,
so
God.
Did you guys hear about the shirt we're going to create? The next shirt for Anti-Siphon?
No.
It's gonna have a sexy keyboard on it, and it's gonna say "Touch me" instead of grass. Anti-Siphon.
Okay,
Oh, wow.
Are you ready? Is everyone ready for this?
I think we should just do it.
Works. That actually worked pretty well.
It works. It's a cute.
Not too bad.
All right. Corey, take it away, sir.
Hello and welcome to Black Hills Information Security's Taco and About News. It's October 20th, 2025.
God, already?
Already.
Yeah, it's amazing how time flies when you get old. This is another one of those shows. It's going to be real tough, you guys. Nothing's going on.
Okay, what do we start with? We basically, the top stories today, I would say, we have the AWS outage, which there's not really anything to talk about, but we're here to commiserate with you as you don't work. We
Because
got
the internet's
F5.
broken.
There's the
Well,
F5
it's
thing.
affecting us right now. I mean, that's
Let's-
why we're on Zoom.
Yeah, it's true.
Corey, you're coming through real weak. Can you turn up your mic?
You are a weak sir.
You're a weakling. You're not strong, Corey.
Is it better now?
You're weak sauce.
Yeah, I don't
Just
know.
mime what I would probably say. It's fine.
Mime what you would say. I get it.
Yeah. All right. So I don't know. The F5 thing is huge. The Amazon thing is huge.
Yeah, the F5, a whole year probably. That was big.
Okay, but can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, you're good. Keep going.
Yeah, we can hear
Okay.
you.
So,
What?
okay, my thing on the F5 thing, this is my personal hot take. I'm curious to hear other people's hot takes. I think it's kind of a nothing burger because, first of all, they had access for a year and they couldn't pull off a 0 day. Okay, well, I'm not worried.
I've got a rebuttal.
Maybe
So I want to touch on that just a little bit. Like, if we're looking at if we're looking at them dwelling for that period of time, like two things: one, they were there, right? And two, I'm getting more and more and more concerned as time goes on. I'm getting a lot more worried about not the 0 days that they just pop and they go right away, but like the hold it and dwell type 0 days. And I think the fact that we don't have any 0 days that came out of this doesn't necessarily mean they didn't have any. It's just if they're using them, they're keeping their powder dry. As a pirate, I wouldn't know.
Yes. I tend to agree, especially in the age of AI. I think they've probably analyzed as much of the source code as they can, and they're probably just piling a shelf up of stuff and just holding on to it.
Now, all of that has changed right now, Joff, right? Because if you're holding on to those 0 days, then as soon as it's clear that their source code is out there, all of the security engineers at F5 like, we really need to fix this. We're using get s everywhere. That's bad. Oh, it's fine. It's fine. No, we shouldn't be using it. Now all of a sudden those engineers are getting yelled at by the CTO for like, why didn't you tell me about this? And they're like, we told you 5-6 years ago.
Yeah.
So there's panic right now.
Well, and it's the security group is probably going, hey, look, vindicated, guys. Come on. I told you to fix that. It's time to fix that now.
I told you we were
number one
for like a year.
Well, and just for clarity on, I mean, we're kind of just assuming the entire audience has read the article, but basically the kind of like the details of what they disclosed, they said that essentially hackers had access to their technology support and engineering department for like a while. And they said that they're not aware of any of these flaws being abused in the wild. They're also, as part of the breach, they had access to like their internal dev portal where they could see like open vulnerabilities and findings reported by security researchers. They did specifically say in the advisory though that none of the vulnerabilities all the vulnerabilities that attackers had access to have now been fixed. So they recommend you patch. So go do that. But also, of those vulnerabilities, none of them were RCE or critical severity. So I don't know, that to me adds credence to the whole this is a nothing burger thing. The other thing, like John said, persistence, long-term dwelling, yes, that's true. But I guarantee you, or I don't guarantee you, but I would imagine F5 did like a threat hunt on some of their customers as part of this advisory, right? Like to see if there are like persistent access, backdoors, shells, etc. Like, maybe they didn't, but in my mind, they had to, right? Because otherwise, this would be an incomplete advisory.
But I think we're missing, like, from what I could gather, was the actual attack, which was just essentially an information attack. Like, this was a hot nation state action, right? So all they wanted to do was just sit there and get as much information as they could. Okay, I don't think it was necessarily about like collecting 0 days like Pokemon and then deploying them all out the world. Like, they'll take that if they can get that, right? But I think this is just an information campaign to gather as much and to use that in other attacks, right? Or to use that just to find out anything about F5's customers, about anything that they can do to spread that and to stay as long as possible. And eventually, the party ended, right?
Well,
Yeah.
I took a look at the SEC filing as well, and I found something like interesting there for the general audience is that they said that they're engaging CrowdStrike, Mandiant, and other cybersecurity things, which tells me that it seems like F5 was a CrowdStrike customer. So we can go on for like the CrowdStrike tagline of "We stop breaches," or yeah, I mean, we can beat up
support them.
CrowdStrike, but that's not the takeaway here. Is that there may be a lot of organizations that are using CrowdStrike services. Was something misconfigured? How did the Overwatch team not get the logging? Did they not see this? What is happening? And you can't be one of those CrowdStrike customers that goes, "We own CrowdStrike, we're immune from breaches." It's like, do you have things configured properly? Are they seeing the right information? Like, how does this slip past those defenses?
And I think that that's a great thing. But from what I'm looking at, and I'd like to get Ralph and Joff in on this, I think in a lot of ways, CrowdStrike is an endpoint protection project, and an EDR wouldn't apply in this situation because it sounds like they got access to a number of different servers and services and they were able to dwell. But I think that your question is valid because I do believe, and we're seeing this in a number of different orgs where they end up buying something like, we'll just use CrowdStrike as an example, right?
Yeah.
And they get this really strong false sense of security, right? Like, great, CrowdStrike's got your endpoint locked down, your workstation's locked down. Good for you. That doesn't necessarily mean all of your cloud services, your customer portal, your dev pipeline, CI/CD pipeline is secure as well. And I think that there's a lot of people that are like, I'm spending all of this money on an EDR, EPP, and therefore why would I spend more money on these other things? Because, I go back to, good security is flipping hard. And doing good security is not just buying a good endpoint security product. It is basically, are you doing extrusion detection? Are you doing egress network traffic analysis? Are you monitoring your cloud services to make sure there's no weird logins with impossible travel? Who's accessing your code? Like, there's a lot that you should be doing. But once again, that isn't what's being sold to people. What's being sold to people, like you said, is buy CrowdStrike and everything's good, because that's what all vendor marketing teams do.
Yeah, I think that's a big takeaway for what you said, for everybody that's listening and might go, I'm not an F5 customer. This is a nothing burger story. Maybe why should I care? It's like, here's a lesson to take away is, always keep improving your security and don't just, sign the checks and say we're good.
So the other thing too, I see this over and over again. We talk about these stories. We're like, I can't believe, I'm just going to insert some company. F5 got hacked. They must have a horrible security program. And then it's the next company. And then it's the next company. And then it's the next one. And then eventually you're kind of like, well, do they all really have the worst security programs? Or is this just so hard to actually do that, we're seeing it kind of iteratively happen to these companies that do have good programs, and maybe they do have weaknesses and they get exploited. But I think the point is that we all of these big companies have these weaknesses, and the bigger they are, the harder it is to kind of, take control, right?
Well, absolutely. We've talked about it for years, trying to break into companies. Much larger companies are easier to break into very small companies.
Yeah.
So
from the defense side, I can go ahead and say that exact same thing. You've got situations like this, and the higher ups will go ahead and say, oh, well, they were running Microsoft, or they were running CrowdStrike, so we're not going to use them because they're easy to go ahead and bypass. They don't understand that there is no perfect security. Yeah. They figure security is an end game and not a journey, and not something that's going to keep moving, and the needle's going to keep moving, and you have to keep up with that needle to go ahead and be as secure as possible.
Yeah.
Information security, perfection's in the paranoia.
Yeah, it's and we all know it's a really tough job to do it. And then even when you do it right, you're still going to get popped at some point. It's a matter of, what your plan is at that point. When
there's just so many endpoints, there's so many servers, there's so many assets they're dealing with, right? Across teams, right? Teams of people, groups of people. I mean, all this other stuff. So yes, the big companies have it hard to keep control over it, and it even is worse when you're like a security company as well, right? So
in particular, software supply chain always scares the crap out of me, because there are so many possibilities there. And I'm also concerned that nobody's really talking about this. I'm also really concerned about the machine learning ops pipeline that nobody's talking about, which has got a bunch of data scientists that know nothing about security. But anyway, that's going down a tangent. I want to just address the endpoint protection stuff. Maybe there's a maybe in here if in their CI/CD runners they had some endpoint protection as part of that process, but I don't see it as really directly connected necessarily to their infrastructure, and I don't think it would be effective the way I would probably set up the infrastructure around source code for such an animal. So
I think the biggest takeaway of this breach for any CISO or security person out there is to put security measures in place on your dev and test environments beyond what you would do, and potentially beyond what you would do in your production environment. Like, it's not super clear whether they have their endpoint protection, CrowdStrike, whatever, deployed in their test instance. I've seen plenty of customers who don't do that, who are like, oh no, it's dev test. It's exempt from endpoint compliance requirements. It's exempt from
I was just doing some source code work, and in all of the unit tests for the development source code, there were hard code credentials and hard coded tokens, all of them.
Yeah. Well, that's a separate issue. I'm talking about the security of the dev and test systems themselves, not the CI/CD side. That's a whole different beast. But like, it's possible. We don't know the technical details, but it's possible. My guess on this is it's a combination of something like a GitLab server or some CI/CD type infrastructure and a bunch of endpoints or environment or Active Directory related to that.
Yeah.
That would be my guess.
It would not surprise me if you look at GitLab, GitHub, that in dev branches, those tokens and stuff are creeping into the dev branches, right? So that's a really big danger area.
And this is going to be a second, but I like over the weekend, I really, really, really got into kind of what's going on in China and kind of how things have fundamentally changed. And if we're looking at like up until last year, China's modus operandi was kind of disorganized, right? If you look at China, it's very hard for us, right? Because people look at China and they think it's like a monolithic dictatorship, and it is, right? But it was also a whole bunch of different provinces that kind of had their own generals and their own people doing their own shit, right? So you would have a series of groups in one part of China that would be doing hacking, and another group in China would be doing hacking, and another group would be doing hacking. And that creates really big confusion as far as who has access to what and who's doing what. And it also created a lot of competition internally within China, which is something that's very historically driven by the way that China has always done things. There's always internal competition, even though they're all part of the Communist Party. So everything started changing, I want to say 2016, 2017 timeframe. And Xi Jinping was really kind of pushing this idea of China becoming a great cyber power, or cyber great power is how it's actually translated. And they wanted to focus on three areas: air, sea, and cyber. That was where they're going to put all of their funding for defense and offenses in those specific areas, because those are the areas that they think that they stood the best chance of dealing with the United States, right? And so far, that's been very successful. So what the hell changed, right? So what started last year is they started unifying all the different cyber efforts under one group and one kind of leadership directorate under the PLA. And this crap is, I can't remember what university published it, but there's a university that gets their internal like military doctorate and memorandums and translates it so you can read it. But if you read that whole doctrine and how they're trying to do things, you're kind of moving from like Salt Typhoon to Volt Typhoon, right? And Volt Typhoon is specifically targeting persistent access and infrastructure. That is what they are focusing on. And when you're reading kind of their methodology, they don't call it Volt Typhoon, but their methodology and what they're doing going forward is really heavily based on what they saw in Ukraine in the opening parts of the war, and also what they saw with the data breaches coming from the Vault attacks against the CIA and shadow brokers. So in the opening salvo of the war, Russia launched the largest cyber offensive ever at that particular point. The problem was Russia failed. Russia's full goal at the very, very onset of this current phase of the Ukrainian war was to completely cripple the infrastructure of Ukraine so their communications were degraded to the point where they could not react to an invading force. And they launched that attack, and there was a whole bunch of Western IT firms that were part and already in Ukraine that were working with Ukraine and trying to help defend Ukraine systems. And they successfully kept the communications weapons network up in Ukraine. And I don't know if anybody is aware of this, but China's literally been hacking Russia because they feel like Russia's not giving them honest answers to their questions about their cyber offensive operations. So China's been watching all of this crap and watching Russia kind of fumble around still on the cyber perspective in Ukraine and seeing how much it degraded their effectiveness on the ground. And then when you start moving into Volt Typhoon, right, we start looking at Volt Typhoon and trying to gain access to critical infrastructure. The new doctrine is taking what they learned from the failure of Russia to successfully take over critical infrastructure and cripple Ukraine's capabilities. And then they're coupling that with what the NSA and the CIA has been doing in the United States forever, which is take over, get source code, find exploits, get backdoors for as many routing and edge devices as you can possibly get your hands on. So if we're looking at this, right, like if we're looking at this particular attack, this absolutely falls in the playbook of where China has been progressing for the past few years. And I know this breach goes back to 2023, but the point is they're now kind of unifying all of their cyber offensive operations under one group. And it's now coordinated very much to gain access to services like this, maintain access to services like this, monitor customer communications, try to get source code, try to input source code inside of the supply chain for maintenance, for maintaining access. And also, a lot of their source code, and this is something that a lot of people aren't talking about, isn't necessarily persistence bidirectional communication and two-way access. It's kill switches. So basically, can we put in some source code that can send a command to a firewall, to a router, to an F5, whatever, big IP, that causes it just to shut down and not and become non-functioning. And granted, this is fear, uncertainty, and doubt, right? This is some random ass person on the internet telling you this. But if you look at what China is doing and you look at what they are, what their goals and their objectives are, this entire attack methodology is right up exactly the way that their military doctorate has said that they need to start gaining access to companies or continuing to gain access to companies like F5 networks, like Palo Alto, like Fortinet. So they have that type of stuff. So I do agree that Corey is talking about this from a nothing burger from the perspective of, are we going to see 0 days for F5 and all these things? But I think that everyone in information security needs to take a step back, take a beat, look at this, and now start to have serious questions about overall supply chain in a variety of different places. And knowing that CrowdStrike or whatever EDR that you're using is not going to protect the entire organization. What are your security posture that you're going to put on those things? What is your security support structure? And then going further, what are you doing to detect? Like I said, this is why we created AC Hunter, everybody. Like, it's not for the attackers that are trying to do ransomware. It's not the attackers that are general idiots that are spraying and praying. It's trying to go after these level of attackers. And one of our customers was absolutely part of Salt Typhoon. And I remember we were at Wild West Hackin' Fest last year, and they hadn't renewed their subscription, and they were panicked because AC Hunter was one of the things that detected what was going on. But going back to what Shecky was talking about, it's not about just getting an AI product. You have to have humans that are leveraging the tools, including AI, to try to sift through this stuff. So you have this constant paranoia, because I'm going to be blunt. I'm scared shitless that something did get put into F5. We have no evidence of that whatsoever. They're going to try to minimize that. We don't know how long they had access to source code. Did they have commit access? Was anything committed? How many accounts did they have access to? Like, really, I'm hoping that F5 is going through with a fine-tooth comb all of the commits that have happened. And this sucks in the past 2 years, because it's not just a persistent backdoor. It's basically looking for kill switches. And if you want an example of how advanced these backdoors can get, go look at a code analysis for SolarWinds and what the Russians were able to put into that. That code was fantastic, very well written in multiple different parts of the code base. It was a very, very good, it wasn't like begin rootkit here. It was very much distributed across the entire.
Well, at least they put comments.
Oh yeah. So that, like I said, this was going to take a while, but I really think if you're looking at China and you're thinking a whole bunch of mediocre hackers, China has completely pulled all of their CTF. They no longer come to DEF CON. They no longer do any hacking competitions outside of China. They are now very, very focused at doing exactly this type of thing, which, by the way, the NSA has been doing for a long time. So just kind of a long thing about this, and that's what concerns me more than anything about this attack.
I think there was an article too with the NSA was just got caught by China doing the same thing back.
Yeah,
that's funny. I mean, I think the really big take home as part of that discussion, and I think John spelled it out pretty nicely, was it's all back to that software supply chain, right? And then the deeper you get in the early phases of software supply chain, the more impact you can potentially have, right? And I've worried about this for years because the entire, internet and everything that we use is just built on this stack of technology that goes back so far, and we don't know truly what vulnerabilities are in this stack of technology. And that part, I mean, OpenSSL was a good example several years back where they got popped with a couple of things. That kind of thing, when that happens, has such a broad impact that it's like super, super scary. And lately I've been very, very worried about the machine learning ops pipeline side of what's going on in AI model building, because it's a potential.
Let's not forget, Joff, China's right there in the middle of that with you. They're not worried. They're looking at that as an excellent opportunity.
Exactly. And the number of PhDs they've got working on that stuff is exceeding everybody's capacity. It's crazy.
In China, I have a PhD. One thing I stole it from someone else. The one thing I guess we've talked about this article way too much and we should move on. But the last kind of note I want to say is, in my view, I think this is a coin toss, whether it's actually an APT nation state or whether it's a financially motivated threat actor. I think you can make an argument for either side. I think my argument for it wasn't a nation state is they sat there and didn't do anything with it. They didn't deploy a backdoor into the code, I guess, that we know of. They didn't compromise every customer.
They did. Backdoor was Brickstorm. There was persistent access, and that has been sometimes attributed to China. So, sorry, go ahead.
On F5?
On the F5 network. And by the way, that particular malware is not associated directly with China. It's not completely tied. It has been associated, has been used by groups that have been known to have affiliations to China. The exact group is UNC.
Well, it's always an UNC.
It's always an UNC now. So.
UNC gets around.
It does. That UNC group, they're really good. So
I mean, I guess they're attributing it to an unspecified nation state actor, but
at this point,
that's the default move for any breach.
Yeah, I mean, that covers the whole, we weren't doing our job, because you can't protect against nations.
Well, they were highly sophisticated, okay, in our defense.
They were level 10 nation state, okay? We weren't dealing. This is it's like a Cat 5 hacker,
Cat 5 hacker. That's low level.
We were only ready for a Cat 3 hacker.
Yes, exactly.
You got to watch out for those Cat 6 hackers. They move even faster.
These are hurricanes, John, not networking cables.
Oh.
We
gotta remember where Ralph lives.
You know what was funny? I was right there with John. I was about to say,
I was playing with it. I don't know. I was rolling with it, man. We've seen the OMG plug. It could be an OMG Cat 6 malware.
Whoa. F5 supports Cat 7A. All right.
Either way, I think the duplicity of that.
You take that, interpret it as you will.
Take it as you will. Either way.
All right. What's next? I mean, we could talk about this age verification thing. It's potential. I mean, I thought that was an interesting one.
So I think all right. So I'll open that one up just a little bit more, because I think it's a little bit broader than just this article, right? So there's a lot going on right now in the industry. I want to say the industry, more like I would say like laws and politics, right? Not to get into politics, but more specifically around the law and how this affects us and everyone from a technology standpoint. This is about age verification. And right now, there's many states who have passed laws now that are kind of enforcing age verification across something like all of the App Store, right? And I know Texas just passed a law that is doing that. And what it's requiring you to do is essentially, as like a parent, you have to like approve everything that goes through there. And then if you make a new account now, you have to prove that you are over 18 in some meaningful way, like I guess giving a driver's license or something, right? Which is something Apple did not want to do. The California law was actually less restrictive and falls in. But the bigger thing is, and we're seeing this across the board with age verification. Back in the day, right? You could go to a website and they'd be like, "Are you 18? Yes or no?" Difficult question here. You could still access the website, right? There was no actual limitation to this. But as we've seen recently with Pornhub, among many other sites that may require age verification, this is now becoming much more in depth than just clicking yes or no. And the ramifications of this are things like Discord, where all of those age verifications were put into a database and then compromised, so on and so forth, right? Yeah. So there's a lot going on across the board, not just in America.
Well, I got a question, because this isn't my cup of tea, but if you can't get porn without providing proof of your age, like, is it still possible for people to get porn on the internet without providing age verification?
Whoa, we can't talk about that.
Okay, first of all, the whole point of the internet is for porn. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm asking, is this a solved problem now?
I
might have to do some research.
This gets deeper.
Here's the answer.
It goes deeper. Excellent.
The answer is the same answer it always is, which is that it depends. So I don't know about Pornhub specifically, but my understanding was when all those states required age verification, they just don't work if you are reporting from a geolocation in those states. I don't know if that has changed since there was a news article we talked about where basically the reputable companies in those spaces, they pulled out. They said
that's terrible. Wow, no one saw that coming.
That being said,
look, it's better that they pull out early rather than later because of all the consequences.
Now they're never going to stop.
So, okay, the reputable companies pulled out. There are going to be companies who don't follow any of these laws because they just don't give a crap. They're based in the Netherlands or whatever. Yeah. They don't give a crap about following U.S. laws.
Yes.
However, this article is talking about California requiring tech firms like Google, Apple, etc., to collect a user's ID, a user's age on the device.
Yes.
And then allowing App Store developers to request that information in app.
So this is beyond
centralized.
Yeah, this is beyond the porn argument, okay?
Yes.
We're going past that. And this is for all apps that are used in the App Store, specifically Apple or Google. You'll have to provide age verification regardless, right? Like, it doesn't matter if it's for everyone. That has to have some kind of age, like that account has to be age verified in some way, shape, or form.
Yes. And so essentially, I don't know, I'm curious to get other people's takes on this, but my take is, like, the true way of doing this system, which of course has privacy implications, is to have like a centralized national identity system, whether it's based on crypto or certificates or whatever it is, that is like you're not a social security number that proves how old you are. And you can use that to like verify your identity just throughout the world, right? Like, here's my national identity. You can like kind of like OAuth. You can say you have access to see my age data, and that's that. This is like laying the groundwork for that, because I would much rather do that than have every site collecting a picture of my driver's license.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So, I mean, in my opinion, these laws are just dog whistling, right? They're just like, we care about the kids or whatever.
Save the kids.
But I want to go back to what Ralph was talking about. If we open the aperture on this stuff a little bit wider, right? I just pulled up a bunch of laws because the UK has been doing some really weird stuff.
Yes, they're way ahead of us.
Yeah, they're way
being weird.
Us, right?
No way.
So you
Yes.
got the Investigatory Powers Act amendment in 2024, and then the Online Safety Act. And basically, especially the Online Safety Act, we're looking specifically at attacks against encryption, right? And direct attack against VPNs. And then we're also talking about age verification, right? And when we're taking all of this, which is weird, I mean, the UK is no longer part of the EU, and they don't have to worry about GDPR as much as the other countries in Europe. But this isn't just in the United States. It seems like there's this strong march where a whole bunch of these different nation states are moving to less and less privacy, less and less encryption, more and more oversight, more and more capability to gain access to encrypted data on people's phones and everything. And we're not seeing the pushback that we saw a number of years ago. I mean, there was pushback from Google, go all the way back to Skype, where I remember working actual cases with children, and well, they weren't children. Children were the targets of what we were trying to do. And Skype would just say, F off, we're not going to work with you. And we're having more and more collaboration with these very large organizations, very large corporate entities that are more and more willing to start capturing this information. And
Well,
I think
of course
all
they want to
puns and jokes aside, that's the terrifying trend of all of this. Go ahead, Bronwyn.
Of course they want to capture it, because then of course they can data mine it and they can sell to the children and their parents, because of course children don't have any influence over what their parents do.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. No, it's really, it's not surprising to me that big tech is willing to play along with the politicos who are trying to push these child-friendly policies, because that makes them look like they're playing along and they're really nice and they're trying to help the kids too. We're not the bad guys here. Well, that's my takeaway.
In this particular case, I know that Apple was pushing back immensely. It even called up Texas Governor Abbott, yes. It said, like, don't do this. Tim Cook was like, don't do this, and he did it anyways. So, and the reason I think is they just don't want to pay for all, they just don't really want to, like, it costs them a ton of money to do all of this.
I do believe at some core, it's kind of like the Grinch and the coal in his heart. I do believe at some core, Apple does have privacy concerns. I do believe that there is still that faction.
Sure.
I do.
Sure.
So,
well, yeah, no, I don't disagree.
Well, okay, I just have one question though. I mean, you've been talking about protecting the children, but is there going to be a point where I age out of being able to use the internet, and you have to check are you young enough?
Like, you're too old to drive. You're too old to use the internet now. This is like a danger to your health, actually, right?
You put your age into AI, and it just starts recommending like knitting patterns, and it's like, whoa, hold on, I'm not that old.
This whole Bad Bunny thing, without getting into politics. I'm like, I'm going to go listen to Bad Bunny. And I got to be honest, I dig Bad Bunny.
Oh, yeah. It's sick.
Yeah. No, dude, it wasn't at all what I was expecting it to be. It's like really cool. But I'm wondering at some point, like Joff, they're going to show a picture and be like, who's Bad Bunny? And Joff's like, I don't know.
I don't know.
He's done. Like, no internet for him. He's out. I want you to hum a bar of a Bad Bunny song.
I do. I do think the solution, though, going back to Corey brought this up in the very beginning, I do personally believe the solution is that instead of our government's writing laws that then you go figure out how to solve that, why don't you make the same thing with, like, you have driver's license. This is just a really old version of identify. And, like, it's just not ready for the internet, right? Why can't we bring that into this digital age if you want to enforce that? Why don't you be part of the solution instead of just doling out problems that other people need to solve, and then be surprised when it messes it up or, ruins other people's, privacy?
So here's my thing, we always talk about, like, in the 80s, right? Whenever we were playing outside, you would go out and you would come in whenever the street lights came on, and you would drink water out of a hose. You would go find rusty farm implements and then, like, play with them. You would do all these things. And what happens over time is you have people that are like, well, maybe we shouldn't let kids that are 9 years old run chainsaws, because one kid was running a chainsaw. So now it's all power tools. Kids can't work with power tools. Now they can't build forts. And then it just progressively encroaches over time, because no parents want to argue and say, you know what? Actually, my parents did. No one wants to say, I need my 9-year-old to work on power tools. I remember I had a teacher in middle school that found out I was working with power tools because I was doing construction with my family, and was very mad and brought my parents in, right? And my parents were like, F you, crazy lady. But what happens is it starts to encroach short, like in these small increments over time. And safety is always the concern. It's like till you get to the point where you don't see kids outside anymore.
Yeah.
Right? Everything has been so locked down where I have a friend of mine, his kids were playing in the front yard of his own house, and the cops got called on him because his children were unsupervised, and his kids are like 9, 10, 11 years old. And all of this shit gets more and more restrictive over time, and we keep putting in all these restrictions. And then we start talking about terrorism, and that's a lot of the laws in UK. If you go back and you look at the debates, yes, I've been on a poli-sci kick again for a while. If you go and you watch the debates of all of this stuff, it's all we got to stop. We got to stop terrorists. We got to stop online predators. We got to stop all of this. And they're willing to continuously infringe on the privacy of people again and again and again. And it becomes this thing where someone shits themselves, everyone has to wear diapers. And I would like to put forth an alternative solution to this is raise your goddamn kids. Like, you know, have some level of watching what your kids are doing. Try to do this, and don't make this the responsibility of the state of Texas or Montana or Arkansas or any of these states to do full age verification, because a kid may go to a porn site and see something on a porn site. God forbid that happens. It's like maybe, just maybe, parents should be responsible for their own raising of their own children and not make it this huge thing that we're dealing with. And I like the internet being wild, crazy. I like it being kind of unhinged and chaotic. But if we're looking at where all this shit is heading over the next couple of years, somebody just said, just like the TSA, yep, that's kind of where we're headed, right? Where it's going to be like, we noticed that you were using a VPN, and what were you using a VPN for? And we don't know, like only criminals use VPNs.
Yes.
And and weirdos on the internet and furries, I guess. I don't know. And I feel like that's where we're headed very quickly.
Okay, I got to tell a quick parent story. Okay, I have to. So when my kids were teenagers, which they are no longer teenagers because I'm old as dirt,
Woohoo!
I put a yeah, it's a privilege.
Being old is fucking awesome. So go ahead.
I put a proxy on the network and I was logging all the web requests, right? And when I found out that my son was surfing porn, I was not a angry dad. I just grabbed a little printout of some of the logs and I took it to him. I said, I want you to explain why you're visiting these websites to your mother.
Oh,
I gotta be
playing the mom card.
After that, he never connected to your Wi-Fi ever again.
A parent alternative take is don't do that because your child might.
Oh God. So, okay, I mean, I think where this all ends is we're all just a person born in 1901 in like some random VPN only country.
Yes, exactly.
Like,
I'm thinking about a country that's like the VPN island where everyone routes all of their traffic through to, like, you know, not have to.
Seaborn.
Wasn't that the plot of
Or
Cryptonomicon?
Sealand. That's it. Sealand.
Yeah. That was a Cryptonomicon. I think that was the plot. They were going to create a data haven for these things.
Speaking of privacy, we actually have 3 satellite articles, which I thought was interesting.
Oh, cool.
Yes. And so, all right, I used to do SATCOM in the military, so I was intrigued by these articles. But
that means you were sat a lot? You just sat around?
I sat around. So the one that I thought was interesting is I think it was a university or some other group of inspiring minds. They set up a satellite antenna, and they wanted to see if any of the data on those satellites was unencrypted, right? So for those who haven't played with satellites, there is a constellation of geosynchronous satellites. These are satellites that kind of orbit the Earth at the same spot all the time, right? These are the main communication satellites outside of the LEOs, the low Earth
These
orbit
are
satellites.
predominantly HEOs, high Earth.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so the LEOs are like the stuff like Starlink and other things like that. Those go by real fast, right? And then you can't see them anymore. So, but what they were doing is they were listening for any signals off of these geosynchronous satellites, right? And what happens is they tend to be very regional because they follow the Earth the same speed as the Earth rotates, right? So whatever you can hear is from that location. But what they found is that some providers like T-Mobile, I guess, was sending data or phone calls over the satellite back to a teleport unencrypted, right? Amongst other signals. So, I mean, the TLDR is that encryption should be used even on satellites, right?
You think?
Encryption dilemma.
Yeah. I mean, but so it seems really like an evident article. Like, yeah, should use encryption. What they were saying is it didn't take much for us to be able to see that you weren't using encryption, right?
So when I was working at Northrop, we were working with the NRO, which is in charge of running satellites. And I will tell you, I had multiple arguments with engineers that were like, what do you mean we can't just use clear text data transfer? And their argument was encryption introduces overhead. And especially whenever you're talking geosynchronous or you're talking helos, there's already a lag associated with it. And if you introduce a processing lag on top of that, then that's a big problem. Now, these were also people that had hundreds of thousands of lines of code, used Telnet for data transfer, which you should never do, and use gets everywhere, right? But you see a lot of these engineers with these technologies that they will push back, and they always win the arguments every damn time. They're like, use encryption.
The lag thing I get. I had a
it's like 600 milliseconds
that used geosynchronous birds, and I used them for years, and my low end was in the 850 860 millisecond range.
Yeah,
that was on a good day.
Remember those days, Bronwyn?
What I'm honestly surprised about is that we don't find this happening more often. That this is the first real big story that I've heard in a long time about this, with the cost of SDR equipment being next to nothing. And that's the whole thing. I know tons of people that are ham radio aficionados or enjoy going ahead and trying to hack around with stuff. With an SDR, like I've got one in the back, I can go up into those ranges and just pick up.
Sure. So you can go into those ranges, but you still need at least you can do it like with a sub-meter antenna, and you still got to point it right at the satellite, right?
That's easy. There's online systems to go ahead and show you the position.
No, I get it. I'm not saying you can't do those things, right? And then you can go to the next bird and the next bird and the next bird, and you can go through those frequencies. There's also more than just those frequencies. There's more than KU, there's KA, there's X band, there's a bunch of stuff out there. I mean, it is all over the place, right? And where you are matters just as much, right? They have little antennas on the top of those satellites that are pointed at very specific teleports, right? So, anyways, it's just all dependent on what you have, but you're right though, it's not as expensive as it used to be. But
the fact that we've got companies like T-Mobile that are sending stuff in clear without any encryption on it is just
obfuscation.
We haven't heard about it more frequently or as big of a thing before because of how easy it is for the everyday person to go ahead and pick up these satellites.
Yeah,
and it says $800. That means it's a Cat 5 hacker.
The other thing is there's a number of these geosynchronous satellites and either HEOs or LEOs that actually have ham radio systems on there. So you have to wonder, are they mixing things up inside of their code when they're programming it and just forgetting to toss the encryption on top of it?
Yeah, encryption's expensive, right? I mean,
it could be that.
But that is the argument. That is the other argument that you hear, right? Because you put a satellite up there, you've got power budget concerns, right? And that is operationally expensive.
Yeah, and those are real concerns, the processing but you ideally, and that was one of the other weird things, you shouldn't be doing a lot of processing on the satellite itself. But that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, I couple things. So I previously, years ago, I don't know if they're still doing this anymore, but there was this CTF called Hackasat.
It's still out there.
It's still out there?
Yeah.
Because that was cool. There was
a number of years, and there's a GitHub repository that has all of them, which is really neat.
Yeah. So if you're interested in satellite hacking, I think Tim Fowler also has a class on satellite hacking.
Yes.
If you're interested in this, it's a unique beast. I will say that, I don't know, with a lot of this, there is software that can be changed potentially, but good luck patching your satellite.
Yeah, there's a lot of really
Tough
old
one.
birds out there.
Oh, dude,
Yeah.
I've patched satellites, or I've been in the room when we patch satellites, and butt pucker. It's so high
Yeah.
because they go down right and they're off,
Yeah.
for a while, and everyone's just like, "Well,
Please
that's $1
come
billion
online.
in the sky."
I was gonna say, yeah.
Just
spacewalk.
click the satellite.
So that was the other article. Is Jeff Bezos wants to send data centers to orbit because it would
This
be
is the
cheaper
stupidest thing
than
I've read all week. This is so dumb. Does he not
yeah.
know how? Does he not know how like physics
So-
work?
Yeah. So the reason
Servers are heavy. What?
Yeah, the reason why that satellite cost $1 billion is there's a bunch of reasons, but one of the big ones is how expensive it is to take it from the ground
Energy.
and put it into
It's
orbit,
literally
okay?
just physics. How much
Yeah.
energy it takes to launch something 17,000 miles an hour.
That's part of it.
Yeah.
But
why do
also
you
a
think
lot of
why do you think SpaceX became such a big company, right? Well, because they got a big
lots of them.
yeah, because they're launching stuff all the time, right? Anyways, yeah.
No,
And
I
they're-
remember there was one satellite. I think that this is public. I'm not going to say the name of the program or anything, but there was one of those $1 billion satellites. And trust me, the stuff that's on those satellites is expensive and hyper.
Sure. Oh, absolutely.
expensive, like crazy.
Highly expensive
Someone mounted
Raspberry
a
Pis.
bracket on. I'm not joking. The bracket was mounted backwards. And when they started unfurling the solar array, it stopped like halfway. And it I don't know. There was some magic shenanigans they did to get some viability out of that satellite, but it was literally $1 billion that went down a hole simply because a bracket was on backwards. It was nuts.
Okay,
Yes.
so the audience is already onto this, but I'm assuming that he just launched US East 1 into space.
Yes,
that what's going
that's
on?
actually why it went down. Yeah.
Is that what happened? Is that
Yes.
what it did? Was
Thanks,
it like
Jeff.
the whole date? Thanks. Jeff.
It was a deal with Elon to launch AWS into space. It was like a whole thing.
It was cooler. Think of the cooling savings you're going to
The
have.
cooling savings was one thing he mentioned in the article. The unlimited solar ability. I don't know how big
This
this
is
array
so
needs to run
stupid.
one
I
GPU.
love how stupid it is. I'm glad that we've
delicious.
gotten to the point with Jeff Bezos where he looped around from like genius billionaire back to stupid billionaire. I love it so much. It's so dumb. Oh, there's no clouds and rain. You really think the data center techs are like really worried about clouds and rain? They're not. No
No,
one's
no,
worried
he was
about
talking about that from a
clouds.
solar perspective. The article, by the way, is talking about that.
Yeah,
from a
solar's
solar
never going to power a GPU. It's just not going to happen.
I mean, if
you'd
you
have to build a
big enough
freaking Dyson
array,
sphere.
you have
Actually,
the whole sky. You're right.
There's solar, there's GPU like crypto mining farms in wind farms in Wyoming.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
bet.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what? They're not Amazon scale data.
They're
centers.
not Amazon
Yes.
scale data centers, right?
Try putting it in the ocean. That is been one popular.
Microsoft did that. It didn't
Yeah.
work. Everything gets all rusty.
Yeah.
I
'Cause
mean-
it turns out the ocean hates everything and tries to kill everything.
The ocean
Yes.
was like, yeah. Also, like, turns out the ocean isn't that cold. I don't know. Anyway,
Yeah.
Oh, my big question is, can they actually even solve the radiation effect problem, right? Because those things get
Flip a bit.
bombarded once they're outside.
oh no, it's okay. It's all ECC memory, Joff. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, don't worry about it. And they solved the internet problem too. They just put a big cable. It's just a tether.
It's
It's
tether.
just-
Okay, John. You know what? You need
Still
to send them
doesn't
a
change the
message.
physics.
Yeah, it still doesn't change the physics. And John, send them a message that you have a mine that's 8,000 feet deep in your backyard, and they can just put the data center down there.
Yeah, I
Oh,
was gonna say, like,
could
it's
have done that. See, now you have to bring up one of the 2 or 3 marital strife things in my relationship with my wife. I wanted
You wanted a data center in a mine?
a data center in a mine shaft, right? Like that's what I wanted, and she wanted it filled. So that hurts, man.
That got filled. Got it.
yeah.
All right,
I was
so
wondering if
me
Banter-
too. We didn't even talk about the Amazon thing much, but I don't think it's that big of a security thing right now. But
It was
yeah,
DNS, by the way. Shocker.
always goddamn DNS.
It was DNS. Yeah,
Well, if you know how to run it right, it doesn't have to be DNS. I'm just
it
saying.
was in this case. I mean, all right. So we can argue, though. All right, all right. If we talk about the CIA model, right, the availability, right.
They now call it the AIC.
Whoa.
Oh God, I'm
FBI
sorry.
model
Just,
now.
Because we
just
can't
whatever.
say
Just
CIA.
just listen, okay? The availability is part of
AOC,
security.
that's
okay?
political.
I know.
Oh, AI. No. Oh. Okay, Ralph, go ahead.
I was just going to say, though, and this was brought up kind of across the internet, right? When you put all your eggs in one basket, when that basket just fails, guess what? We're all affected, right? And we used to have more of a decentralized internet, but now we've just, 3 data centers, right? 3 companies are running everything. So, maybe that's not the best design.
See, now, Ralph, you're channeling Paul Vixie right now.
I know.
You realize this.
Right at that point. And I think Paul's given up completely and he just rides his motorcycle around.
Yeah.
He's like, this whole internet thing was a bad idea. So, all right. So I've got something on this can put the camera on me because I gotta share something here real quick. All right. So you know how pen testing, anytime you do a pen test, there's always a butt pucker that something goes wrong and you're going to get blamed for it. So anytime there's a pen test, like everybody in that company has a get out of jail free card. Like I can guarantee you in Amazon, as soon as things went south, there was somebody that asked, are we being pen tested right now? And because they got to blame somebody, right?
Yes.
So I have entered a new phase in my existence. So Canva was one of the companies that was using AWS that went down, and Canva goes down, and I get this text from my daughter where she says, do you guys do pen testing for Canva? Like literally, I was getting blamed.
You got blamed for a pen test.
Oh my God.
By my daughter.
Dad, did you break the internet?
Did you break this company? So
be honest, did you actually look up if they're a client?
I totally did. Actually, yeah.
I just always think it's funny too when someone's like, well, you can't just run that yourself. Like, how are you going to keep it online? You got to run it in something like AWS. They never go down. I'm like, they go down all the time, dude.
Yeah. But I'm going to go with it's okay, right? So my training class was smoked all day today. Yes. And it was fine. Because if I ran it, then I would be to blame and I'd be on the systems team.
So it's a blame shifting. It is
blame shifting.
Yeah. All right.
100%. And I have no
It's not
problem.
my fault. You go sue Amazon.
I have no problem admitting it. So my students are like, they're like literally like, Amazon's down. No problem. We're cool. If it was my stuff, they'd be like, I gave $25 for this class and I demand a the blame shifting is real.
You make a great point, John, because then, they can go yell at the cloud, literally.
Literally, well, unless it's in space, because there's no clouds and rain in space.
And maybe it's just raining at the data center. That could be.
And shifting blame is better than losing 25 pounds in 20 days.
Yeah. Oh, what's it like? Life on the front lines. 25 pounds and what was that guy doing?
I don't know. He was on the SolarWinds hack response. It was I relate. I totally relate. I mean, back when I was still a developer, we're probably talking 2016, 2017, an Amazon engineer accidentally fat fingered a command, took down just tons of stuff. We were offline for a couple of days. It took us a couple of weeks to get back up to stuff because when Amazon went down, when AWS went down, it broke so many other things. And so, no, I relate totally to this.
Do you think they have like a list of interns, like they have hurricane names, and they're like, when this happens, you fire this person, and if it's big enough, you fire like 3 people.
I will say for the record, like if you're actually a cloud expert person and you're like good at deploying stuff in the cloud, you don't rely on any one region for anything. You have regional redundancy, you have copies, you don't just only, we use US East 1, that should be good enough. Like that, it's not how the cloud's supposed to work.
Yeah, you're probably talking about 1% of their customers, Corey. Maybe that's generous, but...
I'm just saying, when you take the AWS basic training courses, they specifically say everything needs to be, you need to understand the concept of regionality and availability zones, and their whole model is not baked on if this region goes down, everything breaks.
I would also follow that up. If you read Microsoft's official documentation on how to use SharePoint, right? It says specifically that you are responsible for backing up that data. It is not their responsibility to back up that stuff, right? So
does anyone do it?
No one does.
Yeah.
Because it's in SharePoint, it'll never go down.
Yeah. Well,
I just peed myself a little.
No, John. The less we have, the better. The less we have.
That's true because we intentionally.
No, because it's not your fault, John. Remember, you said it, buddy.
Shared responsibility, baby.
Actually,
All
we
right.
do have it in all of our pen test proposals that we do delete data. Like, so if
absolutely.
Microsoft's
It
just
doesn't
beating us
say
to the
whether it's
punch.
intentional.
It doesn't say whether we did it on purpose.
All right, go ahead, John. Give us the CTF walkthrough or whatever.
So I already posted the walkthrough. So if you're wondering what we're talking about, if you join our Discord server, you get into the webcast CTFs. We have the let me get that in. There we go. We have the webcast CTF. So we do CTFs and we do all these things. Well, last week we had a pretty cool CTF and we had some winners that came through. The solution is now in the webcast CTF channel. So you can go check that out in our Discord. And the winners are, let me pull those up real quick. Kel Lamity, Kellamiti, had the most correct answers. So round of applause for Kel Amity, Kellamity. And then the runner up is Samson 2.07. Once again, Samson 2.07. Now, Calamity is going to get a full year of the entire course catalog for anti-siphon security training, which, by the way, we do corporate subscriptions. If you want basically SANS level quality at affordable prices for everybody in your team, hit us up in anti-siphonsecuritytraining.com. So they're getting access to that, the whole catalog for 1 year. And Samson gets to choose an anti-siphon training class of their choosing to get for free. So we're going to be doing this every week at the end of the webcast. Ooh, look at the notebooks coming up from Corey. That's awesome. Much better than eggplants. Earlier. But we're trying to make our systems, like when we're doing this stuff, much more hands-on. Now, this is the part where I lie and say, oh, well, we can't do a walkthrough because we have just 1 minute left. Even though that is true, I need to go back and watch that webcast so I can better explain the walkthrough of this particular CTF. But we will have more CTFs with more of our webcasts. Not every single one of them yet. We're going to try to get to that point, but we're trying to make our webcasts as hands-on as we possibly can. And once again, we have training. If you want to check it out, it's like top-notch quality, but the difference is you can afford it. So check that out. And with that, Corey, do you have the video of the finger to take us out?
That's
And I think we're just gonna
Amazon's
quiet-
down right now.
Hold on. I got sorry. S3's down. I got this though.
S3's down. You got this. But
yeah. Okay. Here we go. All
here
right.
it is.
That should. All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
You should have used the redundancy, Corey.